Hello, everybody. You have made it to the Aquarius Full Moon live, or if you're catching the replay, you've made it to the replay. So whether you're watching live or on the replay, let me know. Just say hello or type in live, type in replay, whatever happens to resonate with you, and say hello as we get going. What these calls are, I'm actually, trying to move around my notes as I do this. There we go. Okay, so that I can see the screen and my notes. Okay, so what these lives are, they are new moon and full moon lives that I do to help you learn how to work with the zodiac, manifest with the moon, set intentions, all those things, become that amazing rock star version of you already living the life you desire, so that it has no choice but to manifest for you. And that is what the crux of what you will hear me talk about here at Blue Moon Manifestations is becoming that person, identifying your dreams, taking action steps, basically the framework of manifesting. I happen to do it with working with the moon, and I incorporate a lot of music, talking about music, sharing music, all those things. And so I do want to start off by saying, though, this is the very first full moon live that I am doing in two places. You may be watching me live in the Moon Manifesting Rockstars Facebook group, or you might be watching me live and or replay on my YouTube channel. This is a direct result of feedback that I have gotten from you guys in person at in-person events and places that I've been, and also just in like questions that I ask, polls that I send. So I appreciate all of the feedback that you guys give me. It really is not just, wasted information. Here we go. You can, let me turn down. Hi, Eva. Good to see you, my friend. So I'm doing both places because there are people I know who are not on Facebook, who don't want to be on Facebook, or just don't like the group setting, etc. So these will be live on both places, at least for the foreseeable future. We're trying this out because it's what you guys were telling me. So as we get started, these are informally referred to as coffee, conversation, and coaching corners, or coaching calls, whatever you want to call it. So if you happen to be drinking something or have a beverage, let me know what you have. And if you don't, that's okay. I have coffee. I always have coffee. Normally my staples throughout the day are coffee and water. But today, I also have my smoothie. So I have my smoothie. It's 11 o'clock on the West Coast out here. And that is my breakfast. I'm not an early morning breakfast person, but I do get up early. So kind of weird. But that's okay. That's part of what we'll talk about with this live. Your unique weird, and tapping into that. So let's see. That is Liquid Death with lime, sparkling water. It's hot. Eva, I have seen one of your posts at least, and just seen things on TV, how yes, it is extremely hot for you guys out there. It's hot in LA, but not nearly that hot. We've been having a stretch of about mid to upper 90s, which isn't really, extreme. So I feel you. The cool drinks. Yep. I actually had some iced coffee yesterday. A twist on iced coffee that I actually learned from my friend Michelle, who is in the group. But you freeze coffee, like just brewed coffee, or however, you just plain black coffee. You freeze that in ice cube trays. And then when you're going to make your iced coffee, you use those as the ice cubes, and you pour your choice of milk over it. I usually use oat milk or almond milk. and then add a little bit of creamer if the coffee I brewed was a little on the strong side. And then as the ice cubes melt, it infuses the coffee flavor into the milk. So it helps me drink it slower because, you know, I want that flavor exchange. So I did that yesterday, and I'll probably have some more. I found some silicone, I think that's the right term, silicone ice cube trays. So it's really easy to pop those out. And they're actually bigger ice cubes than the standard ice cube trays because I actually got them from the baby food or the baby section, and they're designed to, you know, freeze baby food cubes and, you know, either take them with you or mix them into other things. I don't know because I've never prepared baby food. But the silicone flexibility of them makes them really cool to pop out the ice cubes without too much fuss. So let's get going. Like I said, these new moon and full moon lives are for you to learn about working with the moon for manifesting purposes, personal development, learning about the zodiac and applying that to learning about yourself. These are a great time for you guys to ask questions. If you have questions or something has come up, I have these calls twice a month for the new moon and the full moon. And then get a taste of what it's like to work with me, to, you know, what the type of personality, the way I work, kind of verbally processing things, asking questions. So you get a taste if you are interested in taking it deeper and personalizing the work for what specifically that you're working on. So the format of what to expect is I will share a little bit about the zodiac sign that the moon is in. Either one, both the full moon or the new moon. Today, we're talking about the full moon in Aquarius. I will talk a little bit about manifesting with those specific zodiac properties and the phase of the moon. And then you can ask questions. You can ask them along the way, but I will answer them all at the end. Great idea. Yes, the large silicone ice cube trays are a game changer. They're so much more user-friendly, at least that I've found. So let's see. And so the questions will be at the end, or I will answer them at the end if there are any. And so a question from me to you, just to kind of get this started. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, please participate along, ask questions, answer my questions. That helps, you know, feeling of engagement. And I will come back around and answer or respond to the replay wherever you happen to be watching it, YouTube or on Facebook. So let me know where you are in working with the moon. Put like a number 1 or an emoji of the one, whatever you choose. If you are new, a beginner, curious, just getting started, or a number 2 if you've been doing this for a while, or at least you're familiar with it. This is something that even if you haven't applied it consistently, you're aware of working with and setting intentions and manifesting with the moon. So that's my kickoff question for you guys. So like I said, today we are talking about the full moon. And the full moon happens approximately 2 weeks. Number 2, yay! Happens approximately 2 weeks after the new moon. Sometimes it's exactly 2 weeks, and sometimes it's 2 weeks-ish, a day or two or whatever on, you know, either side, but about 2 weeks. And so we set intentions at the new moon, and I'll talk a little bit more about that on the new moon calls. But at the full moon, what this is beautiful for is both manifesting and releasing. You may have heard that that the full moon is great for releasing and letting go of things. It absolutely is. But you know what happens when we do let things go, when we either energetically clear things out, or even when we clear physical stuff out, right? Like clutter or cleaning things, anytime something is cleared out in whatever method, it creates space. Now, in the physical sense of like clearing out a desk drawer or cleaning out clutter, that cleared out space might be what you desire, like just having that clear space to work and not feel so boxed in and cluttered and that. So that is fabulous. You can also choose to replace it with things that make you feel good. Instead of the clutter, put something there like a picture frame or some kind of statue or something that helps you enjoy the space more. But when we're talking about energetic clearing, like forgiveness, release, letting go of things, the healing process, we are creating an energetic space, an energetic vacuum. And the beauty of doing this at the full moon is that when we do that, or as we do that, we can also intentionally fill that space with things that we desire, positive things, so that it's not as easy for what we've cleared out to filter back in. So the things that we might want to replace it with include gratitude, joy, appreciation, positive expectations. So things that you are clearing out, just kind of think about replacing that space, filling in that space with like lighter energy, desired energy, so that it's not as easy for our old thoughts and beliefs to filter back in. We are human, so they will, pop up from time to time. They will come back around, but the more that we intentionally fill that space with what we desire and intentionally continue the work of letting go and forgiving and all the things, then it is easier to maintain what we desire, to keep that filler that we desire and clear out the stuff that we don't want. It becomes a natural, or I shouldn't say natural, I guess natural, or a regular way of being the more we do it, which is one of the beautiful things about working with the moon. It's in a cycle. So it repeats, and we have the opportunity to practice and get better at it and jump back in wherever we happen to be. So that's one of the many things that I love about working with the moon. And also, because I realized I forgot to put this on my notes, and I do not want to forget to talk about this. The full moon itself is going to be on August 1st, which is Tuesday, I believe. Yes. So August 1st is the full moon in Aquarius. And on August 31st, I believe, I actually don't have that. I should have had that handy. We actually have a second full moon in a calendar month. And what that is called a blue moon. And if you recognize that, my business is called Blue Moon Manifestations because it was inspired by, and I got the idea for it, working with a blue moon during the blue moon time. So the second full moon, which again, I did not have handy, the one on the 31st. Let's go to August. Here we go. Now we're getting close. New moon's going to be in Leo. That I know because we're in Leo season. The blue full moon will be in Pisces. So I should know that because, see, if I was thinking logically, Pisces comes after Aquarius. But I was not thinking logically. So, sorry about that. I'm getting some ants. It's very hot outside, so little ants start to straggle in. So we have two full moons in the month of August, and the second one is what's referred to as a blue moon. So I will be talking about ways to work with the blue moon for that second blue moon. And because they are not very common, the last one was a couple years ago, and the next one will be, I believe, 3 years from that one. I did check the dates, but I'll talk about it during that live. So because they don't happen very often, and because I got the idea for my business at a blue moon by working on vision boards, which is also how my business started, with vision boards, I will be doing a blue moon vision board workshop. So for those of you that have asked who attended the last one, yes, I will be doing a blue moon vision board workshop. And depending on circumstances and depending on what I hear, I may actually be doing a live one as well. I will definitely be doing a virtual one. because, most of the people are not local to me. And also, I will see about different people who are local if they are interested in doing an in-person one. So if you're in the LA area, keep that in mind and let me know if you are interested in attending an in-person one, because the virtual one is going to be happening regardless. And the only reason I'm bringing that up now is because I know I did not put it in my notes, but I want to make sure to address it. So let's get into the Aquarius traits now. I talked about the full moon, where we've been taking action ideally since the new moon, identifying and realizing the things that are standing in our way, be that beliefs, resistance to taking certain actions, thought patterns, things that come up that are unlike our intention. So now at the full moon, we can do the work of releasing those. We can forgive ourselves, forgive the people, forgive the experiences, whatever it is that needs to be forgiven, and start or continue the process of letting that go, clearing that out of our energetic system so that it creates space for the things that we do desire, and then allows us to take those actions, makes it easier for us to take those actions once we realize what is keeping us from doing that. So that's what you're becoming aware of. And whether you set an intention at the new moon 2 weeks ago or not, you can still work with the lunar cycle. You can work with the moon and jump in at absolutely any phase at any time. And all you have to do is ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And the beauty of working with feelings-based intentions, which is what I have learned and developed through trial and error and things that I've learned from other places as well, is by setting feelings-based intentions, you can ask yourself that. How do I want to feel at any given moment? And then you can take an action to help you feel that way or to move you in that direction. So you can apply that process to the entire lunar cycle, to a moment by moment basis, for a week, for the day at work, anything at all. Anytime you're going to do anything in a mastermind that I coach for, one of the founders of the program mentioned in our group that she is continually asking herself that question when she gets up to go do something, when she sits down to start working on something, when she's starting an activity with her family, whatever it is, she asks herself, how do I want to feel? And then takes action and catches the things that are in the way of that and reframes the thoughts, or does something else, maybe realizes that a boundary needs to be established. So continually asking yourself, how do I want to feel, is how you can work with this intention setting process at any time. And throughout the lunar cycle. Hi, Melody, I see you there. So if you did not set an intention at the new moon, beginning of the lunar cycle, ask yourself right now, how do I want to feel? And then come the full moon on about Monday, or Tuesday, and we're in that energy for a few days, start saying, okay, how do I want to feel? And what is in the way of that? Are thoughts in the way of that? Am I not taking action? Am I procrastinating? Do I feel stuck? Do I have fear? You will start to see and realize these things simply by answering the question, how do I want to feel? And you'll start to notice what is keeping you from that. So if you did work or set an intention at the full moon, you can see how it's going. What have you learned? Have you manifested? Are you feeling the way that you set the intention to feel? What results are you seeing based on, on the actions that you've been taking? So that's what we're at the full moon do. You can ask yourself how you want to feel any given time. And here at the full moon, we're releasing the things that are keeping us from that and evaluating how we want to move forward, what we want it to look like. So the first half of the lunar cycle, you're asking yourself how you want to feel and taking actions. And then the last half of the lunar cycle, so from, let's say, Tuesday through the next new moon, you will be saying, how do I want my life to look based on this feeling? What are the things I want to be doing? How can I imagine a new way forward? And how can I show up as the person more and more who has those things so that they start attracting themselves to you and opportunities present themselves? So that's where we are. We're now, as of Tuesday, going to be entering the waning half of the lunar cycle, which is when the moon is getting smaller and we are letting things go and imagining a new way forward. So specific to Aquarius, some traits that are associated with Aquarius. First, it is an air sign. So that means that it has to do with our thoughts, with our beliefs, with how we communicate. So think of all the thoughts, air, right? Our thoughts are air. When we communicate, we're, expressing air, if you will. So this is the air element, and Aquarius is the last air element in the zodiac, or the last air sign. It starts with Gemini, and then it goes to Libra, and then it ends with Aquarius. All four elements have 3 signs. And it's like an octave, or like we're working up the scale, up the level of experience. So Aquarius is this final air sign. And so with this type of energy, like, okay, I've gone and experienced these things already. With Aquarius, you can expect to feel maybe open-minded to things that maybe you hadn't been before. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It simply means you're like, okay, maybe I'm willing to be a little bit more receptive to hearing it and understanding it. But that doesn't mean I have to accept it or agree with it or jump on that bandwagon. I'm just open-minded to new ideas, new beliefs that are different than what has been normal for you. And at the same time, as you are being more open-minded, then you can also evaluate, are my old ways of thinking or my current ways of thinking, seeing things, are they benefiting me? Are they serving me? And if they are, great. If they're not, if you're noticing that maybe it is your thoughts and beliefs that are keeping you from doing the things that you want to do, take the actions you know you need to take, achieve the goals that you want because they're limiting beliefs, they're negative beliefs, then with this open-minded energy, maybe you are able to start letting go of the old ones. And like I said, fill in that space, get curious about a new belief system, get curious about looking at things differently, get curious and be willing to try things a different way instead of the way that you've always done them. Because guess what? If you don't have the results that you want, doing things the way you've always done them is not going to get you the results you want. It's going to get you more of the same. So this Aquarius full moon is beautiful for checking in on that. Are my belief systems working for me? Am I willing to, learn? You don't even have to accept. Learn new ways of thinking about this. Learn new ways of doing things. So maybe working with the moon and following the lunar cycle is a new way for you to do things. Learn about it. This is a perfect place to learn about it because I have them at twice a month and there's no cost to you. It's just learning and seeing if it is something that resonates with you. And if it doesn't, find the things that do resonate with you and try those things. So expect to feel open-minded, progressive, like moving forward in a new way, and innovative, looking at things differently, maybe coming up with new ideas for yourself. I always think of innovative, like with new inventions, with the plane, the Wright brothers, and the flying machine, as they called it, right? These things are innovative. They started in people's minds as ideas, as imaginations, as what ifs, as crazy out there outlandish thoughts. So with Aquarius, the Aquarius full moon, as you're letting go and identifying those beliefs and thoughts that don't benefit you, be receptive and curious about what fills it. Like it might be some out there outlandish dream that your initial reaction is, that is not ever possible. How could that ever be possible? Well, if you're having the thought or the desire or the, what about, or what if, all I invite you to do is get curious about it. Write it down so that you don't forget it and see what happens. Mull it around in your head for a bit. See what other ideas come simply by being open-minded enough and receptive enough to think about it. Think about the thought. Think about the possibilities with this air full moon that we'll be having starting on Tuesday. Aquarius, since it's the last sign, the last air sign, is also the big picture thinker, like thinking about the group, big ideas for, the community, the collective, if you will, whatever collective that is for you. New ways of doing things, new ways of implementing new systems, retweaking or refining systems that you have in place. Looking at, hey, just because it's always been done this way, is it possible to get it done another way, a more creative way, a better way, simply a different way that maybe resonates more than the way things are being done or we're doing things right now. So Aquarius loves to think about what is best for the collective, for the group, while doing it in your own unique way. So Aquarius is like, I am my unique, quirky self, and I'm going to see how that can benefit everyone else, how I can share that with everyone else to make them happier, make life easier for them, simply make them smile. So it's what's better for or good for the whole, but how can I do it my own unique way? So those are the types of things that might be coming up for you, or that you just might notice if you're willing to be curious and receptive to those ideas and those new ways of thinking. So some things to maybe keep in mind, maybe some things to work on throughout or with this Aquarius full moon. Because Aquarius, I think the overall theme is all about authenticity and the different ways that can be applied or looked at. So some bullet points that I have to keep in mind are releasing outdated thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, or maybe even relationships that are making you feel trapped or stuck. And those relationships can be of any kind. Work relationships, friendship relationships, just not associates, acquaintances, anything, or maybe significant partner relationships. If they're not feeling expansive, or they give you, or you have the space to grow, or the freedom to be yourself and explore what that looks like, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to end, depending on what relationship you're looking at and on what level. It might simply mean that this is presenting you with an opportunity to set a boundary or to communicate your desires. Let go of that fear of communicating your desires and do it scared. And even though it feels, uncertain and your voice shakes and you feel jittery or hot all over. When I'm nervous and I always get hot. I feel like that internal heat. Maybe it's because I'm an Aries, but yes, that's when I'm uncomfortable. I usually feel hot in some way. It's like, oh man, okay. So just keep that. That's something to consider. Again, staying curious to new possibilities, different perspectives. It really contributes also, if you think about it, learning other people's perspectives. learning how other people think about things broadens your horizons. It opens up your thinking and helps you to understand other people. Even if you never agree with them, you can understand maybe a little more where they're coming from or get to know their story. If it's someone that you have a conflict with, where is this coming from? And this, I mean, there's so many ways to pursue this. That's where I invite you, if you have these types of issues, to either join me in the Manifesting Me mentorship, which I'll talk a little bit more about, or at least let me know if you want some information about that, because it is so broad and everything can be so personalized. These are very general and broad scope themes that I'm sharing here. And that might be exactly what you need. That's why I do that. So staying curious to new possibilities, thinking of, allowing yourself to think of out of the box solutions. Because what I have learned is that if there is a problem or something that is not working quite right, there is a solution for it. But if you're only thinking from the space that of what you know, you may not see that possibility. You may not see that there's another way very close by, or that there's another solution that is easily acceptable, because we look at things from what we know, right? So my best, or one of my favorite examples for this type of, to exemplify this, to give you an example, is if you think of a pilot, or flying a plane, right? So the pilot, and I think of this because of air, you're up in the air when you're flying a plane. A pilot has a really broad view of everything. They have a much bigger bird's eye view, if you will, than us down here on the ground. But they can still, they can see far off into the horizon. They can see, what's going on, what the lay of the land looks like that we can't see. So I like to think of that as that's how we've grown. We've learned things. We can see things differently. But there's still a bigger perspective. The person or the people operating or at the traffic control tower have even a bigger scope than the pilot. They can see the weather patterns or the storm that's going to be in their way. And they communicate this to the pilot, and the pilot's like, I can see all the way to the horizon. I don't see a storm, but it's out of their visual view, their purview. So if you're looking at things from just what you know, you may not realize that there's a storm coming, or you may not realize that all you need to do is, just go around this way, and you'll avoid all that headache, all that turbulence, right? So something to maybe consider. Just be open and curious to new possibilities, new solutions, rethinking and reconsidering what is normal. And I heard from a podcast, I was talking to a friend of mine who said, whatever people tell you, or whatever you believe, or something that seems to make sense, or something that you believe that doesn't feel good, but it's like for me, a belief I had is that it takes a long time to build a successful business so that I can leave my job. And so me having that belief that it takes a long time kept me from taking actions that would actually make it happen sooner, right? Because my beliefs were guiding my thoughts and my actions. So if you are, have something just simply question it. So, it takes this long to do that, or this is how we do things, or this is the right way. It's like, well, is it? Does it have to be? Is there a different way? Is there a better way? Is it true? And if it is true for you and it feels good, great. I'm simply inviting you to get curious and question everything. It will bring up so many questions for you, but you'll start to say, is it really the best way? Or is this really the way I want to do it? Because there is more than one way to do, I think, pretty much everything. I'm not an expert on everything, but I would think, right? And they're not wrong. They're simply different. And the example that I use for this is math, because everyone says math is so precise and math is so specific, and there's only a right and wrong answer. Yes, and not really. Because yes, 2 and 2 is 4, and we can see that 2 plus 2 is 4, but how many ways are there to get the answer 4? There's an infinite number of ways to get the answer 4. You can add, you can go negatives, positives, fractions, division, multiplication, a combination, a big, long algebraic equation. You can go from the billions. There's an infinite number of ways to get the answer of number 4. Now, they are all correct. They are all accurate. And they all fit the definition of math that it has a right and wrong answer. Yes. And I'm not even going to put a number on it. I'm just going to continue saying infinite. There's an infinite number of ways to accomplish that. So if you think of that for anything that you have in your life, solutions to problems, habits that you have, accomplishing goals, setting intentions, going after dreams, absolutely everything can be done in an infinite number of ways. It simply takes the receptivity and the willingness to see things differently and be open-minded and receptive to new ideas. And if they don't work, and if they don't resonate with you, that's okay. You're building that habit of just being open-minded and questioning everything so that we don't get into these decades-long ruts that a lot of us find ourselves in, where we're having to relearn and unlearn so many things that have been holding us back our entire lives, right? Because they're just things that we accepted as normal. We have things that we didn't even question. And so we're having to relearn and unlearn. So simply establishing the habit of getting curious and questioning everything is the way to avoid that. And, shorten that, cut off that time lapse, that time span where we don't have to unlearn and relearn absolutely everything like that. We can just stop it midway or before it really starts to build momentum. Let's see. Release others' expectations. This is a big one that I still find myself struggling with, but I'm getting better and better at it. Releasing others' expectations of what they think I should be doing, how they think I should be doing it, the pursuits that they think I should be pursuing. And it's not, this is an example of how I have brought into my scope, brought into my thinking, see things a little bit, from a bigger picture. I used to have the belief and the thinking that when that was happening, it's like they are trying to control me. They want to, control my life and tell me what to do and, run my life for me. And so I have now, through this work, this personal development work with the lunar cycle, realized that most of the time they want what's best for me, but they are also looking at it from their scope, what they think I would like, what they see as safe, what they see as a good career choice, the way that I should do things. They want what's best for me, and they want me to be safe, and they want me to succeed. And I'm saying they because it comes from different areas. Yes, my parents are one, teachers, counselors, partners, either as an ex-husband or ex-boyfriends that I've had, they have their expectations of me. And so when I was in that thinking that they're just trying to control me, or they don't want, they're just trying to hold me down, or whatever it was, I've now moved beyond that. I've gotten a little bit higher scope. Maybe not quite as high as the pilot, but I'm a little bit broader view of that, saying, I know they want what's best for me. Or there, on some occasions, maybe not. Maybe there were some. I can say that there were trying to actually hold me back and not allow me to grow. And that was not a family relationship. That was a partner relationship. So I'm no longer in that one. That's been many, many years ago. I think that's what started me on this, really diving into this personal development relationship. And that was like 12 years ago, 10 years ago. What year are we in? 9 years, somewhere in there, 9 to 10 years ago. So seeing how we can just say, okay, what are others' expectations of me? And do I have to live up to them? No. You may have heard a live I did not recently, a while ago, saying how having, we think we need to live up to others' expectations. Well, what if by trying to do that, we're actually living down to their expectations because ours are so much bigger and so much broader. That's what I realized about myself. I was trying to live down to expectations that people had for me. And one of the many reasons that it felt like, being caged in, because I was like, no, I want more. But that's not what their scope was. So it was up to me to make the decisions, to do the things that I wanted, to do things in the way that I wanted, and learn when to keep things to myself, when to share things. And I probably don't have that completely perfected yet, but I'm aware of it. And so I start to notice when I'm feeling, people saying, you should do this, or you need to do that. I just like, okay. I say, okay. Does that mean I'm going to do it? No. So, okay, good idea. Okay, thanks for sharing. That's interesting. Instead of saying, no, I want to do it this way. No, that sucks. That's stupid. Just like, oh, okay. And sometimes it's, in my mind, like, okay, thanks. And I have to definitely check myself still to like not lean into and go into those old patterns of defending or justifying, or that leads to an argument, right? It's like, just because they're saying it doesn't mean I even have to respond. And the more that I get better at it, the freer I feel. And that's another component of Aquarius. What are the things that are making you feel confined? What are the things that are making you feel stuck or limited? And so embrace this rebellious, authentic, unique, quirky you that has these thoughts and these beliefs that are pulling you in another direction, and simply let go. Start working on letting go of pleasing others, living to their expectations, whatever it is, up or down, and letting them write the life that you're living, because it's up to us, every single one of us, to write and experience and enjoy our lives to the best of our ability, to the biggest capacity that we can. And we cannot do that by letting others guide us or dictate us in the sense of what we should be doing. The way that it is to guide people is what I strive to do, showing you and giving you information, telling you the way that I have done things, sharing with you the things that I have learned, but not saying that's how you have to do it. I'm really good at saying, okay, now how can we find the right way for you? What feels good for you? I have this knowledge and this experience. Now, how can I apply that to help you find your method, your path, your desires? So letting go of those expectations of other people, living authentically, and just leaning into you're weird, you're awkward, how did I write it here? I kind of started putting them all together. But how did let's see. I thought I wrote it really. Yes. Embrace your inner rebel and authentic self. Share your quirky, weird, awkward traits and see what that attracts. See how that feels once you get past that initial resistance or just sit with it, that discomfort. It's not as bad on the other side. Even if you do things messily, clumsily, awkwardly, it really still is not as bad. And even if it were, this is how even if it is, you still did it and you didn't die. I know that seems tragic, but that's what our brain makes us think, right? You can't do this. You're going to die. I'll die of embarrassment. I'll die if anyone ever saw me do that. I'll die. I'll just die. If anyone hears that. Well, that's the type of die I'm talking about. You didn't die. You didn't die. Yeah, maybe it was awkward. Maybe it felt kind of crappy, but here you are. You're okay. Now you know you've learned something, whether you want to do that again or not, or whatever. And where have you drifted away from your true self? This is also a great check-in point anytime you're at an Aquarius moon, full moon or new moon, or daily moon. Where have you drifted away from your true self? Where are you, again, leaning into, or have you been following others' expectations, what they tell you or think that is best for you? It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to all of us to make up our own rules of what our life looks like and what rules we live our life by. And then really just tap in, leaning into that independence and freedom to be yourself, to think differently, to speak and express yourself creatively, whether it's in your clothes or the way you talk or the creative pursuits that you do or don't do. Just leaning into that uniqueness, that independence and freedom to really be yourself, letting go of that resistance at the Aquarius full moon. So if you guys have any questions, I've kind of been watching the comments and don't see any, but if you do, let me know what they are. And I have a question since there is a delay, if there are any, just a question for you to consider. If you're a card puller for tarot or oracle or affirmation or whatever, you can use this to pull a card to help you get some clarity at the full moon. You can use this as a journal prompt, or a writing prompt if you like, creative writing styles, whatever it is. But the question is, how can I celebrate my uniqueness, my individuality, and my quirks with this full moon? And what I invite you to do with that question, in whatever way you answer it, like bullet points or journaling or pulling a card, is to do something that is uniquely you at the full moon, or at least identify what that is. Is it going to be dressing a certain way? Is it a power color that you love to wear? Is it doing your hair or actually coloring your hair in a weird color if you've been resisting that, even though you want to do it? Because, oh, it's not appropriate. Or, oh, what would someone say? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Harness that inner rebel and give it a try. So how can I celebrate my uniqueness, my individuality, and my quirks with this full moon is the question that I have for you guys to consider. And I have one question that I'm going to answer that I thought was appropriate, relevant, I should say. They're all appropriate, at least that I have seen. But this is questions that were submitted when you enter. If you're in the Facebook group, there's questions that I ask when you request to join. And one of those questions is, we all experience blocks from time to time. What is the biggest block you experience to manifesting an overall sense of happiness? Or what would you like to know more about regarding manifesting, mindset, or maintaining an overall sense of happiness? I should put joy, because I actually have a different perspective. Like, joy is maintained. Happiness is based on certain things sometimes. Whole other topic of an episode or a live. But the person that submitted this says, I feel stuck and unmotivated. And when you guys submit answers to these questions, I don't share the name. I actually don't even know who the name is. I just copy the question. So I don't know who submitted it. So if you are watching this and you did, there may be someone else who also has that question, which is why I ask them. So thank you for those who have information to share on that and who do. So again, the question is, I feel stuck and unmotivated. And the reason that I thought this was an appropriate or relevant question for this live is because feeling stuck and unmotivated is a feeling, right? I feel stuck. I feel unmotivated. And so when working with the moon and feelings-based intentions, especially here at the full moon coming up, feeling stuck and unmotivated is, it's great that you identified it. This is how I'm feeling. Now, is that how you want to continue feeling? It doesn't sound like it. Most of us, I think, would say no. It's not how I want to continue feeling. So then my next question to this person, or to you, if we were having this conversation, is how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? And if you are someone who is, and I don't know if the person who submitted this question is, if you're someone who's really down in the murky depths of feeling stuck and unmotivated, and you really can't see or clearly identify how you want to feel, it's like, look at the other side of the coin. I don't like to have you guys focus on what you don't want, but sometimes based on what we're accustomed to and where you are in the process, sometimes that's the easiest place to start. So we're going to use stuck and unmotivated. So if you don't want to feel stuck and unmotivated, but you don't know how you want to feel, you can't quite verbalize that or identify that yet. What is an opposing, or what is the another side of the coin for stuck or unmotivated? Stuck. If you think about it, the opposite of stuck is not movement. It's not forward movement. The opposite of stuck is unstuck. The opposite of stuck is free, right? So a lot of us think, see, this is where you start to look at things differently. A lot of us think, well, if I feel unstuck or I feel stuck, I need to figure out how to, what's the momentum? What will move me forward? What do I need to move past this? Well, really, the question is, what do you need to do to feel free? What do you need to do to simply be unstuck? Which, if you think of an image, if you're stuck in the mud, that's the one that popped into mind. If you're stuck in the mud, you can't move forward. You can't move backward. You're stuck. Your wheels are spinning. So the opposite of that would simply to be free out of that little mud bog, or out of the mud that your tires are spinning in. That might be just kind of, off to the side, being able to put a plank. I really don't know how to get unstuck from the mud because I've never had to do it. So I'm just like thinking of what I see on TV, putting a board under there or having someone pull you free, whatever it is. What do you need to do to simply be unstuck? Then once you're unstuck, then you can evaluate. Then you can ask yourself another question. What is the best way forward? Definitely not back into that mud puddle or the mud bog. What is the best way forward? And I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If you're really stuck and you're unstuck now, but you don't see the way forward because all around you is mud, then maybe the best way is to simply wait it out. See what happens as it dries out. Maybe something else will come your way. Maybe someone can give you a ride, or I don't know. But see, there's infinite possibilities. So if you don't want to feel stuck any longer, what is the opposite of that? Unstuck or free. Okay, what is one thing that you can do to feel unstuck? To simply feel a release from that stuckness. I can't answer those for you. These are questions that, conversations we would have in working with each other, or on, if you wanted to jump on a live or anything. If you guys ever do want to jump on screen, I guess I should say that. You can jump on live with me here if you so choose. Next time I'll maybe say that ahead of time. So what is it, if you don't know what you want to feel, what is the opposite? What is the thing unlike how you want to feel? What is the other side of that coin? And start with that. Because if you, what was the question or the answer? It's like, I feel stuck and unmotivated. So if you want to feel motivated, what is one thing you can do? It depends where you're feeling unmotivated in. It really depends in what area of life or in what specific to what activity or whatever. But what is one thing that you can do to inspire motivation? What is one thing that you can do that will start the momentum that will then build and create motivation? See, we want to jump straight to that end result. We want to go straight from unmotivated to fully motivated and moving forward and kicking ass and taking names. Well, there are several steps along the way. A lot of times we have to go step by step, because looking at that end result is really what is also contributing to keeping you unmotivated, because you're like, oh my gosh, that feels so far away. It's not even worth it. Oh my gosh, it seems so hard to get there. Why? Why even try? For me, is accomplishing smaller goals and feeling content. Yes, because what does that do? It builds on itself. The small goals, accomplishing those small goals actually builds the momentum, right? And you're definitely aware of this. If that's the thing, it's like, yes, it's accomplishing small goals, and feeling content with that. And then what is the next goal? Breaking it down into pieces, looking at the opposite of how you're feeling, if that's not how you desire to feel, and seeing what is on the other side of that coin. And then moving forward from there. Start with feeling unstuck, feeling free, feeling loose. I feel loose. I'm loose. I was let loose. Yay. Not loose like loosey-goosey. Just, I'm not stuck. I'm loose. What is that for you? And what is one thing that you can do to feel that way? You don't have to wait to do it. That's another beauty of feelings-based intentions. What can you do right now in this moment to feel that way? Is it get a cup of coffee? Is it stand outside and take a deep breath? Is it go for a walk? What is it that you can do in this moment to feel or inspire the feeling that you want to be feeling? So that is all I have. I didn't see any other questions come through, but I'm glad I came across that in the questions that I was looking through, because it was, I think, very relevant to this Aquarius full moon. So like I said, the full moon is on Tuesday. If you do want information, if you are interested in personalizing this and taking this deeper, the Manifesting Me mentorship is a 3-month commitment, if you will, where you can stay as long as you like, 3 months at a time. And we either work on a specific intention, work on specific goals, see the things that come up for you as resistance, tap into the zodiac signs and the moon phases and where the sun is for the sun solar season and the seasons of the year. All these cycles that provide beautiful frameworks for us to follow are the things that I incorporate in the mentorship. And it is also 2 calls a month that tie in with the full moon and the new moon. And it's, like I said, 3 months at a time. So you can do this seasonally. You can do this, at any set 3-month or 90-day goals. And so I like that, because for me, 90-day goals feel so much more achievable than trying to look at the whole year. And also, if I don't quite get there, I can tweak it instead of looking at the whole year and be like, oh, well, this year went to shit and now it's wasted and now I have to start over. Doing these 3-month check-ins, following the seasons, following or applying the lunar cycle to a 12-month period and breaking that down to help you take action, to help with your focus on what to focus on and what intentions might help you based on the lunar phase and the season of the year that we're in. So that is what I have for you guys today. Thank you all for being here. I hope that this dual Facebook and YouTube thing is beneficial, and let me know what your thoughts are. If you are watching this or do watch this on replay on YouTube, please let me know, because it was from your feedback that this resulted. And the mentorship is an ongoing thing. So let me know if you have questions or want more information. And just share them here in the comments, or you can message me. So have a great rest of your weekend and have a great full moon on Tuesday. I will talk to you soon, guys. Take care.